You don't believe things because they make your life better. You believe them because they're true.
Travel light, live light, spread the light, be the light. Whether we fall by ambition, blood, or lust, like diamonds, we are cut with our own dust.
Never underestimate the power. You have to take your life in a new direction.
Sometimes, when hardships knock, it's just life. Do not take it personal.
The opportunity to secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands.
In the end, you should always do the right thing, even if it's hard. I don't paint dreams or nightmares. I paint my own reality. Hats have power. Hats can change you into someone else.
The world is before you, and you need not take it or leave it as it was when you came in.
Don't bite off more than you can chew, because nobody looks attractive spitting it back out. I always felt like you had to be important to have enemies. If you are untrustworthy, people will not trust you.
You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. Almost anyone can be an author. The business is to collect money and fame from this state of being. In reality, there are no persons, only threads of memories and habits. At the moment of realization, the person ceases.
Yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose.
When no one you know tells the truth, you learn to see under the surface. Kindness is not a business. True kindness expects nothing in return and should never act with conditions. You've a good heart. Sometimes that's enough to see you safe wherever you go, but mostly it's not. Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. Truth isn't. That's a misconception, Lenny. The sky is everywhere. It begins at your feet. Human life is but a series of footnotes to a vast, obscure, unfinished masterpiece. The only man who never makes mistakes is the man who never does anything. One day you'll see why God made you wait. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. Never apologize for burning too brightly or collapsing into yourself every night. That is how galaxies are made. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is.
The essence of being human is that one does not seek perfection.
Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friends. Too many of us are not living our dreams, because we are living our fears. For every good reason there is to lie, there is a better reason to tell the truth. To know how much there is to know is the beginning of learning to live. There isn't enough of anything as long as we live. But at intervals a sweetness appears, and given a chance prevails. If this is long delayed, weapons are blunted and morale depressed.
If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat.
But memory is like plaster. Peel it back, and you just might find a completely different picture. It's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then.
A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. Life is worth living as long as there's a laugh in it.
Letting go means to come to the realization that some people are a part of your history, not a part of your destiny.
The mistakes I've made are dead to me, but I can't take back the things I never did. Agitate him and ascertain the pattern of his movement.
The difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination. Sometimes it takes years for a person to become an overnight success. It is an ironic habit of human beings to run faster when they have lost their way. I want to drag knives over my skin just to feel something other than shame, but I'm not even brave enough for that.
Life is a bittersweet journey, my friend, a bittersweet journey.
Ah, nothing is too late, till the tired heart shall cease to palpitate. The act of going within, finding our truth and then sharing it, it helps us far more than we know. If all the people who were called crazy started acting normal, we'd probably still be living in caves.
Go to heaven for the climate and hell for the company.
The joy in life is his who has the heart to demand it. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get.
Cleverness isn't always true, nor is the truth always clever. We are all insects, groping towards something terrible or divine. There is no such thing as a great talent without great willpower.
We have all been through something. It's how you create something out of it that matters. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. There's no point in wishing. We can't change anything about the past. We can only remember. We can only move forward.
He will win who, prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared.
Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something.
The surest way to make your dreams come true is to live them.
Meditation is a way for nourishing and blossoming the divinity within you.
Keep their friends close and their enemies closer.
I was always looking outside myself for strength and confidence, but it comes from within. It is there all the time.
We cannot do everything at once, but we can do something at once.
I hear my silence talked of in every lane. The suppression of a cry is itself a cry of pain.
It is not worth the while to let our imperfections disturb us always. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. History, Stephen said, is a nightmare from which I am trying to awake.
I have a deeply hidden and inarticulate desire for something beyond the daily life. You can have everything you want if you can put your heart and soul into everything you do. Only you can take inner freedom away from yourself or give it to yourself. Nobody else can. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile.
Those who are willing to be vulnerable move among mysteries.
Looking at beauty in the world is the first step of purifying the mind. The right way is always the difficult way, but it's the only way that connects us with our soul. Free yourself from the inauthenticity and disempowerment of your story.
It is more important to be of pure intention than of perfect action. The control of large numbers is possible, and like unto that of small numbers if we subdivide them. You show me a capitalist, and I'll show you a bloodsucker.
Life doesn't just happen to you. You receive everything in your life based on what you've given. Sometimes, as we're stumbling along in the dark, we hit something good.
Do not presume that richness or poorness will bring you happiness. Your story is remarkable, even if you don't know it yet.
A hero is not known by the number of battles he has won, but rather by the kind of battles he chooses to fight. The elevator to success is out of order. You'll have to use the stairs, one step at a time. He who writes well runs the civilization. Everyone else does the grunt work. Once you realize you deserve a bright future, Letting go of your dark past is the best choice you will ever make. Stop lying to yourself. When we deny our own truth, we deny our own potential. Finding one important thing in your life doesn't mean you have to give up all the other important things. We have our dreams because without them, we could not bear the truth.
Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Ability will never catch up with the demand for it. Nobody ever lives their life all the way up, except bullfighters.
Mixing old wine with new wine is stupidity, but mixing old wisdom with new wisdom is maturity. The rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Know that true change is demonstrated only by your actions around everyone, not just certain people. The place where you made your stand never mattered, only that you were there and still on your feet. Light must come from inside. You cannot ask the darkness to leave you. You must turn on the light.
A whetstone, though it cannot cut, may sharpen a knife that will. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of others.
Think continually about what you want, not about the things you fear. My eyes were glued on life and they were full of tears.
Not every instance requires a response. Truth resides silently in the seat of power.
Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for crisis.
Feet, what do I need them for, if I have wings to fly?
If I had to live my life again, I'd make the same mistakes, only sooner.
Sometimes, the best of God's gifts arrive by the shattering of all the window panes. Success awaits those who steadfastly commit to any requisite sacrifice.
You cannot change anyone, but you can be the reason someone changes.
In order to be yourself, you must first know who you are.
The purpose of literature is to turn blood into ink. All cynics are disappointed idealists. The more stars in the eyes, the harder the fall.
If those who are sent to draw water begin by drinking themselves, the army is suffering from thirst. Everything in life is speaking in spite of its apparent silence. I do not know everything, still many things I understand.
You must do the things you think you cannot do.
Breathing control gives man strength, vitality, inspiration, and magic powers.
The truth cuts like the sharpest knife I've ever known. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path.
Success, for most people, requires unlearning as much as learning. It's good to do uncomfortable things. It's weight training for life.
We follow the codes not because they bring gain, but because we loathe the people we would otherwise become. Being interesting isn't important, but being happy is, as well as being a person you're proud of. You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water.
If you remember me, then I don't care if everyone else forgets. Here, in this quiet place we own, worlds are born. Run the voodoo down.
People don't realize how a man's whole life can be changed by one book. Don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion.
The most common form of despair is not being who you are. Understanding that rests in what it does not understand is the finest.
Don't blow off another's candle, for it won't make yours shine brighter. The art of giving orders is not to try to rectify the minor blunders and not be swayed by petty doubts.
Bringing joy to another lights 1,000 suns within.
If the highest aim of a captain were to preserve his ship, he would keep it in port forever. You were put on this earth to achieve your greatest self, to live out your purpose, and to do it courageously. Life is like yoga. The only way you can enjoy it is by relaxing into any position you happen to find yourself in.
When we fail, our pride supports us, and when we succeed, it betrays us.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness, that is life. To burn always with this hard gem-like flame, to maintain this ecstasy, is success in life.
There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.
Find the things that matter and hold on to them, and fight for them, and refuse to let them go.
Don't look to the approval of others for your mental stability. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power.
Regardless of how black the page, he had always managed to turn it and move on to a new chapter in his life. Before you can successfully make friends with others, first you have to become your own friend. Speaking up for people who don't have a voice is important. It's the right thing to do, even if it's hard. When your back is to the wall, and you are facing fear head-on, the only way is forward and through it.
Fez est ab host docere. One should learn even from one's enemies.
In truth, Freud sees nothing and understands nothing. Truth is not something outside to be discovered. It is something inside to be realized. Imagine no limitations. Decide what's right and desirable before you decide what's possible. A flower does not use words to announce its arrival to the world. It just blooms. The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms.
Each star is a mirror reflecting the truth inside you. The scholar does not consider gold and jade to be precious treasures, but loyalty and good faith.
You cannot change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails to reach your destination. Skill is only developed by hours and hours of work.
Remember, if you play small, you stay small.
The truth is found when men are free to pursue it.
Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard.
Sadness is sometimes the start to eternal happiness. Anyone who isn't embarrassed of who they were last year probably isn't learning enough. People are, generally speaking, either dead certain or totally indifferent. Winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. It doesn't matter where your journey begins, so long as you begin it. Once you reject fear, you will become the perfect candidate to receive and reflect truth. How much you can learn when you fail determines how far you will go into achieving your goals.
Time is heavy sometimes. Imagine how heavy eternity must be. Be brave to stand for what you believe in, even if you stand alone.
I want someone whose heart is big enough to hold me. The thing about a spiral is if you follow it inward, it never actually ends. It just keeps tightening, infinite.
Weak leadership can wreck the soundest strategy.
Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose.
Accepting oneself does not preclude an attempt to become better. If ignorant both of your enemy and yourself, you are certain to be in peril.
Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters. Don't be scared to live your life without judgment. Your greatest self has been waiting your whole life. Don't make it wait any longer. Anything that smiles often needs to be reminded that the world is a cruel, dark place. You have to be the bravest person in the world to go out every day, being yourself when no one likes who you are. People who know little are usually great talkers, while men who know much say little. The truth is usually left for us to hunt and gather independently if we are so inclined. Don't be afraid of what lies in the darkness, because sometimes the things hidden in the dark are our greatest ally. It's easy to talk big, but the important thing is whether or not you clean up the shit.
You don't have to like someone, but you have to treat them as you wish to be treated.
Dance through life, flinging kindness like shimmering rainbows. Find your bliss by sharing your heart. You define your own life. Don't let other people write your script.
The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for life. The petty thief is imprisoned, but the big thief becomes a feudal lord.
I always knew on some level that I wouldn't live long. It's simply not written in my stars. It was amazing how it worked. The tiniest bit of truth made credible the greatest lies. The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. Every day is a bank account, and time is our currency. No one is rich, no one is poor. We've got 24 hours each. No matter how high your status in life is, you are inferior to death. For this, be humble.
The easiest way to be reborn is to live and feel life every day.
I can be forced to live without happiness, but I will never consent to live without honor. Until you step into the unknown, you don't know what you're made of. Real courage lies in being able to believe in yourself enough to try again tomorrow, even after a tough day.
When you know what you want, and you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to get it.
Try not to become a man of success, but rather become a man of value. To write well, express yourself like the common people, but think like a wise man. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. I made every mistake that could be made, but I just kept pushing. Sometimes small things can become very large indeed.
The moon does not simply disappear when we are not looking at it. The perfect man uses his mind as a mirror. It grasps nothing. It regrets nothing. It receives, but does not keep.
Pull up a chair, take a taste, come join us. Life is so endlessly delicious. Some want to live within the sound of church or chapel bell. I want to run a rescue shop within a yard of hell. Above all else, guard your heart, for it affects everything else you do. It is not hard to walk without looking. It is hard to walk without seeing. One of the most important things in life is family. If your origin is bad, it will affect your future negatively.
Stop doing what is easy or popular. Start doing what is right.
We are supposed to call poison medicine, and we wonder why we're always sick. When one has a grateful heart, life is so beautiful. It is better to be alone than in bad company. The truth always carries the ambiguity of the words used to express it. Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting.
Forget injuries. Never forget kindnesses.
It is important that we forgive ourselves for making mistakes. We need to learn from our errors and move on.
Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground.
Through synergy of intellect, artistry, and grace came into existence the blessing of a dancer.
Ultimate excellence lies not in winning every battle, but in defeating the enemy without ever fighting.
Don't wring your hands over the loss of the past. Steady your hands for the adventure of the future. Sometimes when things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. We live in a dark and romantic and quite tragic world. One must work and dare if one really wants to live. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. You should never be surprised when someone treats you with respect. You should expect it. Turn your obstacles into opportunities and your problems into possibilities. We can know only that we know nothing, and that is the highest degree of human wisdom. The truth may be out there, but the lies are inside your head. Many people pray to be kept out of unexpected problems. Some people pray to be able to confront and overcome them.
Being brave means that knowing when you fail, you won't fail forever.
Even a snail will eventually reach its destination. Better to die fighting for freedom than be a prisoner all the days of your life. Almost everything is changeable, improvable, and achievable unless the laws of nature prevent it from happening. It is foolish to tear one's hair in grief, as though sorrow would be made less by baldness. Neither the sun nor death can be looked at steadily.
You never fail until you stop trying.
Youth cannot know how age thinks and feels, but old men are guilty if they forget what it was to be young. Wanting him to come back before anyone notices part of the world has not moved since he left. Delayed gratification is the bridge between your present sacrifices and your future abundance. When one tugs at a single thing in nature, he finds it attached to the rest of the world. You owe no one explanation of what you do, especially those who ask not to help but to judge you. We all take a different path to the same place. Why we took the path we did will always be a mystery.
Reason is, and ought only to be the slave of the passions.
To escape fear, you have to go through it, not around. When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Sometimes the things that break your heart end up fixing your vision. Once war becomes a clash of absolutes, there is no breathing room for mercy. Absolute truth is blind truth. No life is a waste, the blue man said. The only time we waste is the time we spend thinking we're alone. Once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. Having the courage to stand up for what we believe in is our greatest glory, not winning every battle. Of all creatures that breathe and move upon the earth, nothing is bred that is weaker than man. The mind once enlightened cannot again become dark. Problems in science are sometimes made easier by adding complications. One little ray of sunlight can do wonders in our life.
Be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, be kind.
The only way to escape the corruptible effect of praise is to go on working. Being grateful does not mean that everything is necessarily good. It just means that you can accept it as a gift. It is more shameful to distrust our friends than to be deceived by them.
Feeling guilty does not set us free. Being equipped sets us free. Remember, man does not live on bread alone. Sometimes he needs a little buttering up.
If we thought more for ourselves, we would have very many more bad books and very many more good ones. Your environment will eat your goals and plans for breakfast. If you hang out with chickens, you're gonna cluck. And if you hang out with eagles, you're gonna fly.
Birth is not the beginning. Death is not the end.
If there is any truth in the world, it lies when I'm with you.
I cannot trust a man to control others, who cannot control himself. I know the joy of fishes in the river through my own joy as I go walking along the same river. You must let suffering speak if you want to hear the truth.
In the world there exists no aesthetic plane, not even the aesthetic plane of goodness.
Life is not measured by what you have. It's measured by what you give.
The words kept coming back to him. Statement of a mystical truth and a palpable absurdity. Being liked for the way you looked is worse than not being liked at all. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. The moment you recognize what is beautiful in this world, you stop being a slave.
Our lives can't be measured by our final years. Of this, I am sure. Knowledge is merely brilliance in organization of ideas and not wisdom. The truly wise person goes beyond knowledge.
Status will get you nowhere. Only an open heart will allow you to float equally between everyone. Beauty is about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about knowing and accepting who you are. Things will get easier. People's minds will change, and you should be alive to see it.
Every ounce of my cynicism is supported by historical precedent.
Searching outside of you is samsara. Searching within you leads to nirvana. Oh, what a tangled web we weave, when first we practice to deceive. You have to rise above the squabbling and chaos and keep believing. You have to always keep your goals in mind. It doesn't matter what we are, it matters what we do. Success will be within your reach, only when you start reaching out for it. It might be possible that the world itself is without meaning.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Don't half-state yourself. You're the most variable person, because every big thing started from a small one. Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force. The desire to die was my one and only concern. To it I have sacrificed everything, even death. Consistency is the true foundation of trust. Either keep your promises or do not make them.
Adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get.
Rejections come the moment we decide to turn our one day into day one, and that is totally okay. Our worlds are an AI rendering of our input. Be curious, travel, and help to create a better world.